This U-Haul truck is gonna need a deep cleaning after a man slams into a sewage pipe in a parking garage.
What's going on, y'all? Attorney Tom here. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to expensive fails and determining who is on the hook to pay for damages. All right, y'all, let's jump right into it. Yeet. Okay, this is a really important lesson. If you're ever doing any type of construction, make sure your contractors and subcontractors are insured for this reason. Here, these contractors were trying to install a marble counter and broke the marble countertop, and marble countertops are very expensive. Their insurance needs to pay for it. And on top of your contractors being insured, you probably also need a builder's risk policy in case anything happens or the costs just get out of hand because your contractors keep on breaking things.
A customer loses it when her $10,000 gate gets destroyed by 3 uncoordinated stooges.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, so here it's going to depend. It's going to depend on who these guys worked for. Additionally, it's going to depend on any contract language. Perhaps there's a contract clause that says which party is responsible if the cake is damaged during transit. I would imagine, given the nature of the industry and the fragility of cakes, that cakes getting injured during transport is fairly common. So if I was the owner of a bakery, I'd probably have a pretty tight contract that said I'm not responsible. And that's why as a consumer, it's really important to read contracts. And if you don't agree with something in the contract, negotiate it to have it changed, or don't do business under unfavorable contract terms. I mean, this guy, he's just out of phone. He's responsible, obviously.
This basement suddenly transformed into a suburban aquarium when the walls gave up.
Okay, this clearly looks like a flooding event. So hopefully the homeowner has flood insurance. What a lot of people don't understand is that they think that their regular home insurance policy is going to cover flood insurance. It does not. It almost certainly does not. It usually just covers wind events like hurricanes where the water comes from the top down and not when there's a flood, water coming from the ground up. You need a separate flood insurance policy for flooding events.
Truck's engine had so much horsepower that it literally galloped out of his truck.
So immediately my mind is going to some sort of product defect on the manufacturer of the engine or the 18-wheeler. But if you look at the totality of the circumstances, clearly this 18-wheeler was modified to do some sort of like weird drag racing.
Now this is pod racing.
And because of clearly these extreme modifications, there's almost certainly no way you could hold the manufacturer of the 18-wheeler responsible for any sort of engine malfunction. So if I'm guessing, I would just assume that the 18-wheeler drag racing truck owner is probably just going to have to eat those expenses.
He did?
We have to watch that one again.
He did?
I'm sorry, bro. You're on the hook for this TV, for sure.
Home security cameras capture 2 delivery men dropping a brand new refrigerator down some stairs.
This is very similar to the cake situation. It's going to depend on the contract. What does the contract say with respect to who is responsible for any sort of damages that occur during transportation or delivery of the fridge? And I am just letting y'all know because I look, I observe, I notice these things. Usually businesses have contracts that are pretty heavily in their favor. So read the damn contracts. You have way more power than you think in negotiating. Do it. Just take the extra step. Okay, if I'm this guy or his lawyer, I'm not too real concerned about any sort of personal liability. First of all, these aisles were really, really tiny. Second of all, the shelves seem pretty flimsy. I mean, he really didn't push that hard. As a premises owner, you need some basic understanding that people are going to put pressure on the shelves at some point in time, and you can't have your shelves collapsing after a minor shove. So I'm putting this on the premises owner. Hopefully he has some sort of insurance policy that covers any damaged inventory.
An ambitious cameraman takes a gnarly spill when he slips on some water in front of a packed wedding.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. Potential slip and fall case here. Obviously, as a premises owner, you have a duty to keep your premises clean or safe from any hazards. Here, there was clearly some water on the ground, but it's going to depend on how long that water was on the ground. And also on top of that, the cameraman was not paying attention because look at him. He's filming. He's focused on the couple. And of course, it's going to depend on the state laws in which they're located. But regardless, I'm just going to say he might just have to take this fall on the chin. What the hell? Did she hit like a sewer line? Why did it become black? Ugh. I'm impressed that she could throw the bowling ball that high. I mean, that's up there. With respect to who's going to be on the hook, she clearly didn't intend to do that. And also, it was caused during the course and scope of bowling. And while that seems extreme, I would definitely think that it is foreseeable that some sort of property damage occurs during the event of bowling. So if I was her, I wouldn't worry too much about personal liability. The bowling lanes insurance company should cover it, assuming they have insurance.
A massive Air India airliner gets stuck underneath a New Delhi overpass when a truck driver sorely miscalculates the height of a bridge.
You know, one of the first cases I ever worked on when I opened up my law firm was similar to this. An 18-wheeler was carrying a shipping container, and the shipping container was too tall, and it went under a bridge, hit the top of the shipping container fell off on my client. Regardless, in a situation like this, again, of course, it's going to depend on the contract that the driver and the airline had with each other, who's responsible for any damage during transit. And it very well might be a situation where both parties end up paying some portion of the damages just because of how expensive airplanes are. For instance, let's just say that this wreck caused $300,000 worth of damage and the driver only had $100,000 worth of insurance. Well, that $100,000 of insurance is paid by the driver's insurance company, and then the airline is responsible for the rest, or their insurance company.
What happened when you walked out by the wall? Holy!
Again, have your contractors and subcontractors licensed and insured and bonded. This is why.
Wow. Can we send him a bill? Does he get a bill for that? Those cameras are made home.
You cannot send him a bill for that. He's a baseball player. He is playing baseball. Y'all put the camera in the middle of the baseball field. Hopefully they have some sort of insurance policy, but if not, y'all are SOL. Come on, bro. This guy's just gonna have to eat the cost. Looks like he's buying another ring.
A typical day at a car wash goes sideways when the interior and exterior of a Range Rover truck gets demolished.
This is probably the car owner's fault. Why was the trunk open? You're not supposed to have the trunk open when you're going through a car wash. Maybe you could make some sort of argument that the car wash failed to turn off in a reasonable amount of time, like they let it keep going and made the damage worse. And that is an argument, but, you know, overall, it's probably the Range Rover's fault. Again, it's going to depend on what the contract says, but I mean, come on, that doesn't just happen, right? Cars just don't fall off of its transport, so there's definitely some form of negligence present.
Well, because the front fell off.
But again, I hate to sound pessimistic. If you're a consumer, watch out for bad contract language. Also, who drives a Jaguar?
We love Jags because they're so roguish. You can take a girl out for dinner if you have a Jag, and then she will pay.
Come on, dude. You can do better. Okay, pro tip. If you're trying to load something in your vehicle and it causes the vehicle to be lifted off the ground, you should probably not put that item in said vehicle. What do they think is going to happen? It's literally round. How did they think this vase or whatever the hell you call it was going to stay on the car? Of course it's just going to roll off. Rip, bro. So obviously wine can get very expensive. I'm not necessarily sure if wine is going to be covered under a standard homeowner's insurance policy, but if you have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars worth of wine, there are policies that protect just the wine. And also, the extent of my wine knowledge is, is a wine red or is it white? That's about all I know.
While describing the intricate details of a motorcycle built entirely out of Legos, a TV host manages to destroy 135 hours of hard work.
Conspiracy theorist, Tom? Did they do that on purpose to try to get views? I'm going fake. I'm telling you, they did that for views. It's gonna be her fault. Auto insurance policy.
This U-Haul truck is gonna need a deep cleaning after a man slams into a sewage pipe in a parking garage.
Oh man. Oh, that's so disgusting. That's so disgusting.
Nasty.
It's gonna depend on this guy's driver's insurance. Like, for instance, my driver's insurance, if I'm driving somebody else's car and I get into a wreck, I still have coverage. Does this guy have that? I don't know. Additionally, when he went to U-Haul, did he buy any sort of insurance coverage from U-Haul? On top of that, the premises owner is going to have a very, very dirty mess on his hands. And it is possible when you have things like sewage that it can cause property damage to things that it doesn't necessarily physically damage, if that makes sense. Or not physically damage, or I should say physically transform. Like, that doesn't smell great, and let's just say that sits on top of somebody's car and it seeps into the fabric on the seats and their car smells like literally. Well, I mean, you can still make a claim for that because it's unreasonable to drive around in a mobile. So tons of potential damage in this parking lot, and obviously, tons of damage to the infrastructure of the building as well. Ugh, that is just disgusting. All right, y'all, that's it for today's video. Talk to you later. Bye.
He's a catastrophic injury attorney who accidentally became a YouTuber. Attorney Tom.